Hello loves, it's Tiana from Natural Allure.
Hey, it's your girl Jonna from Naturally Glam TV.
And welcome to another episode of Curls Culture Couture. This episode we have decided to do something completely different from anything that we've ever done before, and we've decided to dedicate this entire episode to Sandra Bland. I'm sure we're all aware of her. She is the woman who was allegedly committed suicide while in police custody in Texas. It's disheartening for us as African American women because we both drive. You know, I'm sure as a lot of other women out there, and something as simple as failure to signal can cost you your life at the end of the day. And there's just so many unanswered questions, and we just wanted to kind of come up here and share our thoughts in regards to the situation. I know that the number one question, not the number one because there's so many number one questions in this case, but one of the questions is, where's the remainder of the dashboard cam video? What I saw wasn't the beginning of the stop. It actually was him already in the car yelling at her, saying that he was going to light her up, and she continuously kept saying, this for a traffic stop. He asked her if she was annoyed or something like that, and she was like, yes I am, because all of this for a traffic stop. And I think his ego took over that day. He had only been on the force I think a year and a half. He hadn't been on the police force that long, and to me she did seem agitated, but I'm sure it was because of his questioning and the way he was acting. He was acting as if she really just ran 5 people over. They show you some pieces of it, but then there's also a part where he actually does get her to come out of the car, and he has her move to the left or to the right, depending on, whatever you're watching the video. He has her move out of the sight of the video, and that's when you can hear her saying, you're gonna break my wrist. These dash cam videos are provided by the police department, so they can pretty much release anything they want to release. And are we to believe it? Are we to think that this is actually correct, that this is all that took place when this guy actually made the traffic stop? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm waiting, not saying that we're ever going to get it, but for the rest of that dash cam tape, because that's going to tell us a lot of what took place during the initial stop, what made her get agitated, what made him get agitated.
Well, isn't the FBI involved at this point?
The FBI is investigating.
The tape is real.
Yes.
So maybe they'll be able to determine,
hopefully,
whether there's been editing to the tape. But from what I hear, it's been edited. Clearly, it's been edited. So hopefully the FBI jumping in can confirm that at least, and demand the tape that's not being shown.
Yes, definitely so.
The next thing is the lack of video surveillance at the actual jail. Most times when you have people in that setting, that there is video being taken. So I don't know if this facility was different and that they did not have video surveillance of the inmates at that time, or if that's something that is also gone missing, because that would clearly let us know what was exactly going on there at the jail at the time. And even their own documents are saying that there was time that she was not checked on as often as she should have been. So if she was suicidal, she should have been checked on at a certain time increments, or just being incarcerated or under arrest, she just should have been checked on at certain time increments, and that wasn't done. So then the question is, what was happening during the time that's not accounted for?
When they were carrying the stretchers in, that's from a camera set up in the jail. The stretchers that they had, she wasn't on it at the time, if I'm not mistaken. The lady was just bringing it in there, and there's a video of her actually bringing the stretcher into the jail. Now that doesn't mean that they have it at every corner of it, but we do know that there's at least a camera.
It may just not have been. Yeah. If that's usually when I see those, that's to regulate the staff, not necessarily what the prisoners are inside doing. But if somebody was in her cell or out of her cell, then that would have been caught on that camera. So at least that piece you would know. And maybe that's how they determined that nobody was checking on her or hadn't gone to check on her, because they wasn't showing that on camera. Everyone is talking about the mugshot. Was she really alive in the picture? Is she dead? Is she standing up? Is she lying down? And there's been a lot of discussion about that. I'm not a photograph expert, but I definitely see the things that people are mentioning and bringing to their attention, that, you know, the shadowing and the nostrils, the way they appear, the way her shoulders appear compared to other inmates. It does lead you to believe that possibly she wasn't standing, that she was laying down. You know, different shadowing in her face. Is her face drooping? So there's been a lot of speculation about that, and there's also been speculation that there's no side view to the mugshot. It's just a frontal view. So the question that's being asked is, was she actually alive? Was she already dead when the picture was taken? And I also think that's something that the FBI is gonna examine. Is the picture Photoshop or adjusted or any type of way, or, you know, if they can determine if, you know, where was the photograph taken and how it was taken. It's just so much with this case that is questionable. Her family is saying that they don't believe that she would commit suicide, that she was planning to get out, that she was planning for her bond to be posted so that she could leave. She was getting ready to start a new job. All of these things wouldn't sound like somebody would commit suicide, you know, just because they got arrested for a traffic stop. During the autopsy, they're saying that she had marijuana in her system. That's questionable. That she was saying that she actually had attempted suicide because she had a miscarriage earlier, and that she was depressed about that. So they're revealing some of these things that were revealed when she checked into the facility. And so they're trying to say that all of these things indicate that she was possibly suicidal. Possibly the drugs may have caused her to be suicidal, and just the incident itself. But the family and her friends are not buying that, and we don't know if we really buy it either.
No. And they also pointed out the fact that she almost stood 6 feet tall, and the bed, how the bed was set up, it was only 5 feet. So how could a person that's 6 feet tall, taller than the object of which she was supposed to hang herself on, how is that even possible? You know, it's just like the 1 + 1 it just does not add up. And this is very similar to the Eric Garner case, because we can actually see the video of what is taking place, not of her actual death in the jail, but the things that led up to it. And it's very disturbing. It's unsettling for anybody who has ever been stopped, or, you know, for a simple traffic ticket, and you can, you know, wind up losing your life over it, and you know what really took place. And I think that's the question in everybody's mind, and everybody, you know, wants to know that. And not just for her family needs to know, but for us, because this could happen to anybody. And it's even worse that there's so much of it going on. Every time you turn around, you know, there is someone who is dying in police custody, dying because of police brutality. And I don't think it calls for a cop just being on desk duty. To me, that's just foolishness. I mean, somebody should be suspended without pay. Something should happen, but just that they get a slap on the wrist, that's the part that's even worse in our eyes, because someone died and you were not the result of it, but if you were caused. She wouldn't have been in jail if you wouldn't have been, you know, having your ego all up here that day.
I think I have a different opinion about the person being on leave without pay, because I feel like just like we as citizens are innocent until proven guilty. Police officers, they're public servants. I think they should be extended the same due diligence as we as citizens are, to a certain extent. At the same time, I feel like they should be held to a higher standard when it comes to them following their own protocol. Consistently, people are not following their own protocols. Like, I know the police department, regardless, they all have protocols and procedures. So when an officer does not follow those protocols and procedures and clearly does something that's inappropriate, then I question you being placed on administrative leave during that time. Because I understand that anytime someone is killed or anything like that, because this is the thing, if she didn't die, we would not hear about this. 9 times out of 10. The only reason why we're even talking about Sandra Bland at this point is because she died in police custody and the family is asking for answers. If she didn't die, if he let her go, or she got arrested and she got out and she sued the police department or whatever, we probably wouldn't have heard about it, because I'm almost positive that that's not the first time in all. We know that this is not the first time something like this has happened and people have been arrested. Like, it happens all the time. The only reason why it's becoming an issue is because she died in police custody. It's like, I can understand why police can react wrong, because they're human beings. They're not robots. They are human, and they make mistakes just like normal citizens do. At the same time, again, they're still held to a higher standard because of the position that they have and the role that they play in the community. So while I understand the job is difficult, you did also sign up for the job, fully aware of the circumstances, and that's why the protocols are in place to protect the police officer. Because if you just follow the protocols, 9 times out of 10, at least when something like this does happen, you'll be exonerated because you followed the protocol. You did what you were supposed to do. Again, it goes to your police officer. You're being held to a higher standard because of the position you play in the community, and so I expect more of you. I expect you not to be childish.
When she says I have epilepsy, he says good.
I'm racial fatigue. I'm done. I'm just over it. People think that black people aren't tired of talking. We are so tired. We're tired of talking about it, because we're the ones who actually have to experience it and then talk about it and then try to convince other people that it really does happen. Thank God for the age of social media, where we don't have to try to convince people that this stuff really happens. You can see it for yourself. Because we're not talking about citizens doing dumb stuff like with Trayvon Martin. You're just an idiot. Now we're talking about somebody that's at work, at their job, being paid
to protect and serve.
Right, taken under oath. There's just like a physician out here running around doing stupid stuff. You see what happened to Michael Jackson's physician? He's in jail because he did not do what he was supposed to do. Even though Michael Jackson was asking him to do it, he still took that oath that he would do no harm, and so he's in jail. So the question is, why is it that police officers are not following protocol, are not living up to their oath? When is that going to change? When are they going to be held accountable?
What is going to be different the next time? What changes can we see implement? And I think that goes across the board for every single police officer that ever took that oath. There needs to be some type of reorganization, just like in a corporation. When you see things are not going well and people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they hire a reorg company to come in and sweep out the old and make it better. So I think that this is definitely the time, like just like Jonna said, we are so over this. Like, it is draining emotionally just to hear about people being treated like this. It just doesn't make any sense. And for what? Which I'm sure that for what part, we may not ever get an answer to that. But I think going forward, there definitely needs to be some change, because if not, you're gonna have a society that's walking around. You have cops on edge and you have people on edge, because neither one of them trust the other, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I don't trust you, so I'm gonna react how I think you're going to react. And that just makes for a volatile situation all the way around. We just hope that Sandra's family finds peace, and we also hope that there is something done in the police departments to make it better for the officers to serve and feel like they can still exercise their authority without being overboard.
We thank you guys for tuning in to this special episode of Curls Culture Couture. We hope that you found this content interesting, and we definitely want to hear your thoughts about the Sandra Bland case, so definitely leave them in the comments below. If anything that we shared touched you, feel free to share this video, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.
Always peace sign. There it goes.